If you're ready to upgrade Terra on a budget, you're going to cut these 10 cards and add these 10 cards.
And if you don't have a budget, because Final Fantasy reference here, cut these 10 cards and add these 10 cards.
And we have set you up with all the information you need right there. It's in the Moxfield link with a full list of all the cards.
And we have a giveaway coming up for one of these precons in our live stream June 8th, where we'll be playing all these precons against each other. So don't miss it. Subscribe to the channel, join the Discord. Let's go.
Terra, Herald of Hope, is a Mardu Reanimator commander looking for sweet creatures with 3 or less power to bring back every turn.
It's a really sick card, but there's two unfortunate things. Having to deal combat damage and having to pay 2. That limits our options, and that does change some lines, but she is still strong, and a lot of our ads play into her strengths and weaknesses super well. Chainer Nightmare Adept is exactly the type of card we're talking about. Terra needs setup, and Chainer covers all of her weaknesses. Cards in the graveyard, additional cards you can cast from the graveyard, and haste. A perfect complementary piece to this commander.
And if you want to pick what's in your graveyard, you're playing Buried Alive. 3 cards for 3 mana is an incredible rate, and you're just getting exactly what you need right then and there.
One of the 3 cards you're definitely going to search for is Karmic Guide. Everything on this card is beneficial for us. Obviously the ETB reanimating yet another card, but the Echo actually works for us. Recycling Karmic Guide just gets you additional creatures every single turn.
White Plume Adventurer is another great way to skirt around Terra's restrictions. She's going to bring it back tapped, and White Plume Adventurer is going to untap it on each of our opponent's turns while providing a bunch of initiative value.
You won't find bigger value than Summon Knights of Round. I had to read this card several times to really understand and take in everything it offers, but the fact that this can be reanimated with Terra is insane.
This deck out of the box kind of struggles to win games, so any one card that can build you an army like this is crucial to actually getting across the finish line. And Odric Lunarch Marshal is another beautiful piece for winning games. Terra's going to give herself flying at the beginning of combat, Odric's going to give the rest of your stuff flying, and then any other keywords that the deck offers are just a cherry on top.
Like indestructible for Knights of Round?
Yeah, just like that.
Speaking of indestructible, Jarina, Dauntless General, is the perfect toolbox card in this deck.
We decided to build it a little around ETBs and a little around Reanimate, and the fact that she plays into both strategies makes this an essential add.
And I love anything with incidental graveyard hate that already works with your strategy.
Ephemerate also incidentally works with that ETB strategy. It's a 1-mana card that can help me dodge removal spells, which makes it a really efficient option, and then the free rebound is going to give me extra value on one of my sick ETBs.
Speaking of removal, Bone Shards is the perfect card when you're trying to put the right card in your graveyard and the right card in their graveyard. We love win-wins.
And our last budget ad is Joshua, Phoenix's Dominant. This card is incredible for this deck because it's setup, it's payoff, there's no time I'm unhappy to see this guy.
The sick part about his Phoenix side is that the Phoenix has lifelink, so deals 2 damage to each opponent. You're gaining 2 life for every single opponent you hit. And it just keeps recycling itself, more ETBs, more flips.
Yeah, I can't believe this comes back when it's done reanimating a bunch of stuff out of your graveyard.
A crap ton of value and 2 more keywords for Odric. Great budget ads means not so great budget cuts. Our first 5 cuts make no sense in the deck. Setzer, Wandering Gambler, Strago and Realm, Edgar, Master Machinist, Machinist?
I think they're both valid.
Cyan, Vengeful Samurai, and Interceptor, Shadow's Hound. We've never played Final Fantasy, so we're not sure of lore implications with these, but these seemed like we wanted to print more commanders, so we shoved them all in this deck.
I'm sure they're cool. I'm sure you guys can tell us in the comments the great stories they're involved in, but they just don't have effects that are remotely relevant for Terra. We're also cutting Wayfarer's Bauble and Commander Sphere. These have been staple ramp spells in budget non-green decks for a long time, but anyone who's upgraded a deck before recognizes that sometimes these just need to go.
Our next cut is Laughing Mad. This is just overcost for what this effect is, as much as we want to do something like this.
And lastly, we're cutting Priest of Felrites and Meteor Golem. With Priest, it's awkward that you have to let it sit and then tap it to get your Reanimate, and there are actually such a thing as too many Reanimate spells in a Reanimate deck. They will eventually clog up your hand. And then Meteor Golem is just a little too expensive, and we don't have quite enough consistent ways to dump it into our graveyard if we end up drawing it.
All right, 10 more amazing cards and you have a job. In Tomb, Ripples of Undeath, and Out of the Tombs are our first 3 ads. These are the best in their categories at setting up the graveyard.
It's almost sad that we start putting Ripples of Undeath in the no budget category.
I'm hoping it goes down again. I think it's close.
Sword of Feast and Famine is a card we've never had to explain is good. It's evasion, it's protection, it's mana advantage, it's card advantage. It just does so much, especially when you want to be hitting and you want to be paying mana every turn. So you can spend your mana equipping this, reanimating a creature, and then untap and be ready to do whatever you need in your your second main or on other people's turns.
Brotherhood Regalia is also a sweet protection equipment that gives your commander the evasion she's looking for.
An Imperial Recruiter will give us almost all the creatures we're looking for. A lot of the Precon and our ads have 2 or less power, so this is just grabbing whatever tool you need in your box.
One of those tools is Illustrious Wanderglyph. This card is just straight up strong. Essentially, you're just going to be making a 3/3 gnome every single upkeep. It does not matter if this comes into play tapped, does not matter when it comes down on your turn, it just generates value so quickly.
And once you got your big board of gnomes, a Chroma's Will is going to help you close the game out. Technically it's versatile because you could use this to save your board, but really, this is one of the most powerful finishers White has to offer. And as we mentioned, the deck is gonna need some help with that.
Solitude is just a cheeky card that is easy to get in your own graveyard by evoking, and it's such a sweet reanimation target for Terra.
And Teleportation Circle is going to make the most of all of those ETBs. She's bringing creatures in tapped, so we focused on ETB value to make sure they're doing something that turn. And this card is not only going to double up that value, but also untap them to use them as blockers.
And just for fun, all the Saga enchantment creatures come back in with the first lore counter, and I just think that's neat.
But we got to get through all the stuff that's a little less neat. What I don't think are neat are Kefka, Dancing Mad, and Sepulchral Primordial. These are both 7 mana creatures that have no method of getting themselves in the graveyard, they don't have 3 or less power, and they rely on my opponent's decks to be functional. They do represent a relatively high ceiling, and they can perform well, but they won't consistently do that.
Inconsistent is the name of the game for Pitiless Plunderer and Rune Grinder. We're not sacrificing a whole ton of creatures, and our reanimation outside of 3 power or less is few and far between.
The Falcon Airship Restored is a card I wish I could reanimate more consistently. This is a pretty neat effect, and we kind of debated keeping it, but unfortunately the fact that it's an artifact in your graveyard, and I have to pay the full 5 to bring it back each time, means we can't really count on this.
Night's Whisper and Mindstone are kind of sneaky cuts. When your strategy relies on your graveyard and we're filling our graveyard, that is essentially a second hand. We do not need to be drawing that many cards in a deck like this. So drawing cards actually loses value for deck construction.
We're also cutting Phoenix Down and Coin of Fate. Both of these cards require just a little bit too much setup or have a little bit too high of cost to really be efficient and hang with the rest of the cards we're adding.
Shadow Mysterious Assassin is our last cut, just clunky and awkward. The drawing too is nice, but there's no real way to take advantage of any of his effects in this deck.
We have to spend so much effort on the setup for Terra's effect already. To assume that it's happening in the engines online and then make use of it a whole Aristocrats thing is just too unreliable.
Rule 34 Moogles, take 1. That's it. That's all we got for you. Join the Discord below. Click the Moxfield link below.
I'm already off this take, sorry.
All right.